Cancer. It has become almost a swear word nowadays, and it's become more common. I personally have been touched, not myself, but my son, and I will share a little more about that later. And that's why I wanted to create this recording and share some mind shifting view about cancer. So, when cancer speaks, listening instead of fighting. What now? A heart-centered way to face cancer. So I will introduce myself a little, not too long, because that's not the goal of the day. So as you can guess, I'm French. I'm a mom of five kids, 30, 13, 12, 11, and 7. All these numbers were actually in 2025, so you can add 1 year of all of that. I prepared all this slide last year, 25. Time is flying. I haven't recorded that until now. I've been living in London. I'm a wellness and nutrition coach. I just, I said I turned 50 the 1st of July. Again, it's in 2025 that I turned 50, so I will be 51 in the next July, just as we entered the blessed month of Muharram. So a new Islamic year and a time of reflection. And I am also a Cancer sign, interestingly, which symbolizes nurturing, intuition, and deep emotional wisdom. So my journey as a wellness coach, basically how it started, it didn't start with me. It started with this handsome man, who is my son. He will be actually 32. I said on the previous slide he was 30. That was when I prepared the slide. He will be 32 in November. He dropped 26 kilos, not because of cancer, that was before. And we can actually see it's a healthy loss. We can see how good, how good it looks. Generally, when we lose weight because of sickness, we don't look that good. So he dropped 26 kilos of fat, then he gained 10 kilos muscle, and then it changed him so much that he became a nutrition coach. He helped my mom at the time. She was 68 when she started her weight loss journey or health journey, so that's a proof that's never too late. And look how alive she looks. 4 years later, she looks much younger. We can see from the hair, she's actually older, but she's younger. She looks younger, and I've never seen my mom's eyes open. I've never seen her really lively, actually. We used to call her the sloth as a child, which is very offensive. Like I realize now, being a mom, I wouldn't like my kids to call me like that, but they would call me the powerhouse. So I'm not sure. Yeah, I think it's a little better. And that's me. He helped me drop 10 kilos of fat, then I gained 2 kilo muscle. And again, for me as well, it changed my life so much that I decided to join him in the team of nutrition coaches. So in a nutshell about the wellness journey, that's how it started. So now my mission is to help people be in better health and shape. Yes, most of the time is more weight loss. And I don't really like to say losing weight. The term weight loss, I don't mind, but I don't really like the term losing weight, because when we lose something unconsciously, generally we want it back. So I generally prefer to say dropping some fat, or even better, for women, it's generally the case, releasing. Because when we have too much fat, particularly for this woman and her story, the fat was like protection and a way of holding on many things. And she needed to release that, not to lose it. And that's what we do. So we release the fat, and then we can live healthy again. So most of the time that's weight loss, but not always. My biggest trial, so that's the first one. That's when my son went through cancer. That was at the beginning of the chemo and doing his chemotherapy. Basically, he had two cancer. And Long story short, they discovered one almost randomly, and he had a surgery to remove the tumor, and they thought to give him chemotherapy just to prevent any spreading or anything. And they realized just before starting the chemotherapy that he had already another tumor somewhere else. So they decided to go for the very harsh chemo. And the specialist at the time told him, glad you lost weight, glad you are very healthy now, because maybe you wouldn't have made it through the hard chemo that you will go through. So that was the main trial for me, 2021 and 2021 and beginning 2022. And the other one was I was kind of scammed by a dodgy coach, we can say. I paid 6 times $1,560 for something that was supposed to help me create my own online courses, everything. But at the end of the day, that was more an empty shell. We were 25 ladies in her program. I didn't want to share her name to avoid more problem because she already threatened all of us with many things. But yes, so I ended up, all this made me end up in anxiety and debt, not being able to to work. I was not able to do my online or physical assessment or nutritional assessment, the appointment I give for free at the beginning. I always do this for free because I want people to know where they are, what they can do, and then we can see if we can do it together. But as with everything I was going through, the mood was not there to be kind of a coach or empowering. And so it was a very hard time. And I had, when I was in this time, what helped me were mainly three ladies that were coaches or therapists, and they helped me go through most of it. And, and then my coaching became not only a nutrition one, but more a holistic one with emotional wounds. And basically, in a nutshell, I have created a course, an 8-week course to heal emotional wounds. It's almost my 2 years of fighting anxiety, debt, reframing my life and everything. I created a course out of that. So that's why they often say behind a challenge there is often an opportunity, and but we don't see it when we are in the middle of a trial. So why this talk today? Sorry. Through my son's cancer and my emotional healing, I learned that cancer is not just a medical event, but an emotional and spiritual one too. And that healing goes far beyond the body. Recently, during one of my Wellness Wednesdays session, we explored feminine energy. And I saw how relevant it was for so many people affected by cancer. Most of the women with cancer, I know, were deeply in their masculine energy, giving, doing, hustling, often putting themselves last. And many men I've seen affected by cancer had never felt safe to express softness, emotion, or ask for help. So this video I'm doing now is my way to share that insight and a new way to face cancer. So I will share some slides that I had about this feminine energy. So introduction, feminine versus masculine, 17 tactics to give off your feminine energy and healing your feminine energy. So introduction, feminine energy is all of the nurturing trait it takes to connect to human beings in a meaningful and fulfilling way. It's compassionate, kind, empathetic, patient, and emotional. It's about embracing your intuition and creativity. Feminine energy is fluid and free. Imagine basically like a river. It goes almost wherever it goes, wherever it wants. It's about being. It encompasses receiving and is represented by nature. As humans, we have both feminine and masculine energy, whatever you are, man or woman. the power. But feminine energy is the opposite of masculine energy. This may seem like a given, but it's important to understand that each type of energy has its own unique trait. They are polar opposites, but like batteries, things won't work as they are supposed to without the right balance of both. In our society, assertive characteristics are regarded positively and highlighted as what it takes to become successful. Masculine energy attributes like aggressiveness, drive, logic, doing, and structure are more valued. Being emotional, displaying a softer side, and being still can be seen as less desirable, lazy, or weak. But we are relational creatures. The ability to harmonize with others, collaborate, and effectively communicate is just as important to success. And success is not just defined as climbing the ladder at work or acquiring more material goods. Success is also about about having satisfying, amicable relationships. There's a reason nature is referred to as a female. Mother Nature and Hurricane Katrina are fluid, free, strong, and powerful. Nature, or Mother Nature, is life. She is water, sun, oxygen, and food. She is anything but undesirable and lazy. As women, we are interdependent. We need each other. The traits of feminine energy make it more possible for human. I need to put it small because I can't read. As humans, we are interdependent. We need each other. The traits of feminine energy make it possible for women beings to compromise, forgive, work together, and resolve conflict. So feminine versus masculine. The feminine nurture, the masculine protect. The feminine receive, and the masculine give. And that's often here that stands we can say the problem. As women, and even I can recognize myself here, when we have learned to be very independent very early, sometimes too early, it's very hard to receive. We need to produce ourselves and to make. We are not really ready to receive, and we see that as a weakness or as a trap. Oh, I accepted that gift, so now I have to do something in exchange. So we don't want to receive. But look at even the physiology of a woman. She has a space to receive where the man has something outside his body to give. So even physiologically, we are meant to be like that. Feminine is about being, masculine is about doing. There is the opposition: soft, hard, intuition, logic, fluid, structure, circular, linear, nature, and man-made. And if you see in nature, a river, for example, is never straight line. If you see a water straight line, it's man-made. It's never natural. A river would be always more like a snake, basically. And the intuition. Men and masculine people should try to learn more how to reconnect this intuition, because that's your sixth sense. When you feel something is wrong, you feel you shouldn't go in that plane, even if logically everything is there. Logically, for example, this man is the best husband on paper. Your gut, when they tell you something, they are almost never wrong. Another list of opposition between masculine and feminine. And what can be interesting, you can go back to all this slide after and maybe circle the ones where you are most, and that will draw a picture about your character and where you are. Logical thoughts or intuitive feelings, mind versus senses. So now on that slide, the masculine is on the left and feminine is on the right. While I was reading, I was thinking, oh, senses is more feminine. And yes, I should have put the other way, actually. I should have mixed up, but I find it like that. Decisive action for men, creativity for women. Not women, actually feminine, masculine versus feminine. It's not men and women. It's your masculine side and your feminine side. Risk-taking versus nurturing. Achieving versus experiencing. Impulsive versus reflective. Are you more controlling or being? Competitive or collaborative? Intellectual or expressive? Giving or receiving? Resilient or vulnerable? And we often say to the woman to be patient, to endure and stuff, basically to be resilient. But we are not meant to be like that. We are meant to be more vulnerable. Focused or patient, analytical, empathetic, assertive or trusting, disciplined or grounded. So check where you are. And there is another big list here. I don't think I will read all of them. You can maybe pause the video and read each of them. And again, that would be interesting to circle or to highlight where you are. If you are more receptive or more projective. So if you are more projective, highlight this one. Are you more passive or active? Contractive or giving, intuitive or expansive, inward or outward, and that's where you can know where you are. So all these are for the natural feminine. We talked about the creativity, the ease, and things like that. And for the masculine, it's more about like focus, strength, clarity, and being assertive. But as women, sometimes we actually need to be assertive. Because if you are always allowing, for example, as a woman, as a mom, if you are always allowing everything, that doesn't help your children. Sometimes we actually need to be assertive, and we also need to be assertive to protect ourselves from outside, depending what environment you have around yourself, particularly when it's kind of toxic. And the wounded feminine. So all this, you see, is about the wounded one: victim, powerless, weakness, manipulation, withholding, neediness, codependency, oversensitivity, over emotionals. That's generally when the feminine side inside us is wounded, and that can be for a man as well. And the wounded masculine would generally become a perpetrator. We will talk about that. Abuse of power, dominance, aggression, control, competitive, confrontational, criticism, abuse, avoidance, unsupportive, unstable. Generally, when the male energy has been wounded, that's where they become very abusive or perpetrator. And that's where you can see that actually hurt people. I was talking to someone who was complaining about her, who was talking about her very abusive, violent, abusive husband. And I was trying to make her see that even him is suffering, and he had been suffering. Otherwise, he wouldn't hurt her like that. And here you have some tactics that you can use if you see that you are very much in your masculine energy and you want to become a little more feminine in your energy. That's the thing you can do. I think I have developed a little more this points in the next slide. Yes, let your creativity flow, for example. Connect to your feminine energy by expressing creativity, whether through art, dance, or other outlets. Connect with nature and your senses. Embrace sensuality by enjoying nature and engaging your senses in the beauty around you. Indulge in self-reflection. Explore your inner thoughts, feelings, and spirituality through activities like meditation, journaling, or talking to a therapist. All these three help me so much. I have been I think for 4 decades in my masculine energy. And and I had to learn to embrace a little more the feminine side, and it was quite hard. Embrace receiving, another one. Balance the natural inclination to give by allowing yourself to receive help and support when needed. Every time I had someone giving me something, I felt the need to give back and to give even more than what I received. I felt it was not normal to receive. But now, even like just someone opening the door for me, before I would open myself the door even if I see someone about to open, but now I accept someone to open the door for me. So these little things every day make you connect more with your feminine. Be playful and spontaneous. Break free from constant busyness and allow yourself moments of spontaneity and play. Support of a like-minded woman. Build a positive support system by celebrating and uplifting other women in your life. Practice loving yourself. Cultivate self-love and acceptance as a way to exude feminine energy. Balance feminine and masculine energies within. Be mindful of balancing both energies, adapting to different situations as needed. Do things that make you feel grounded. Connect with nature by walking barefoot, swimming, or enjoying the peacefulness of a sandy beach. Enjoy more rest and peace. Now with menopause, I'm very in that one. I can feel my body want to stay in bed when before I was like a powerhouse, but now I can feel a little different. Embrace compassion, acceptance, and forgiveness as qualities of feminine energy, promoting a sense of peace. Be conscious of your femininity. Practice mindfulness to experience the present consciously, recognizing and appreciating your feminine qualities. And as a nutrition coach, I can say when you are very mindful with your eating, for example, there's no way you can overeat or eat a lot of junk, because when you are mindful, that garbage, you can't let it go inside your system. But when you are thinking about something else or stress, that's easy to swallow junk and you don't even realize. So mindfulness is another big one. Understand, embrace, and express your emotions. As masculine energy, we have learned that expressing emotion is bad or is dangerous or is weak. But sometimes people around us need to know how we feel to understand. For example, as a woman, as a mom, if you do everything in the house and you feel a little tired, if you never show you are tired, your husband and your children will never know you are tired. So you need to tell them, to show them, so then they can look after you and let you enjoy your cup of tea while they are doing the vacuum, for example. So break free from societal norms and understand and express your emotion without the judgment. There's no bad emotions. The bad is when we express it in a bad way. Even anger is an emotion. Don't feel bad when you feel angry. There are reasons to feel angry. And then, yes, if you break the neighbor's car because you are hungry, the way you express it was not that good. Laugh more. Share laughter to create positive energy and connection with others. Own and cherish your beauty. Define your own standard of beauty and celebrate your uniqueness. Allow your intuition to guide you more. Trust your intuition and take the time to think through decision, embracing the feminine energy of insight. Give yourself me time. Reconnect with yourself through meditation, prayer, or yoga. Prioritizing your personal time for inner reflection. Reflect on your strengths. Recognize and embrace your strengths, reflecting on how they positively impact your life and others around you. Find your ways and develop them. We all know this triangle that generally they say either you are a persecutor or a perpetrator, either you are a rescuer, most women and moms are there, or the victim. So let's see what each of them entitled. entails. So the persecutor. In this mode, the person doesn't value other people's views and integrity. They are generally angry, opening and passively. They are aggressive, judgmental, bullying, demanding, spiteful, and scornful. That's generally where you will see the persecutor. The rescuer. In this mode, the person doesn't value other people's capacity to help themselves, appear self-sacrificing, over-helpful and facilitative, like to be needed, prone to meddling unnecessarily, engulfing. And the victim, in this mode, the person doesn't value self and defers to others. They can be very manipulative, poor me syndrome, helpless and needy, complaining and whinging, fretful, downtrodden, blaming others. So just now, try to think where you are, which if you have to highlight what you are, if you are very often judgmental, bullying, or poor me, try to highlight where you are. And you might be a little aggressive, but poor me syndrome as well. So you are generally not completely 100% one or the other. You might have some traits of each. So try to think where you are, and then there is another way of return that triangle. So you see, that was the previous triangle: persecutor, victim, rescuer. That was where we were before. So here the problem dominates, blames, tears down. The victims, it's poor me, feels powerless, dream lost or denied. And the rescuer is poor you, pain reliever, fears not being needed. So that's the dreaded drama triangle. And now we can change that. If you feel you are very often as a persecutor, you can become a challenger. What is a challenger? It calls forth learning and growth, provokes, evokes action, conscious, constructive, unconscious, deconstructive, and you can do it. So you see, instead of being a persecutor or a perpetrator of something, you can challenge others, but in a more positive way, basically, in a more productive way. If you see yourself more often as a victim, like poor me, and you need others to be sad for you, to treat you differently because of your past or what you have been through or something like that, maybe you can become a creator. What is a creator? He will own power to choose and respond, focuses on outcomes. And instead of poor me, you can become now someone, I can do it. And if you are a little too much of a rescuer, you want to save everyone except yourself, you can become a coach. And that's probably why I'm here. And when you become a coach, you will support and assist. You will facilitate its clarity by asking questions. How will you do it? Instead of giving the solution straight, oh, you should do that, or take that. Ask, how will you do it? And most people generally have solutions within themselves, but we need to help them find them instead of just giving them always the solution. So the empowerment dynamic and the winner's triangle. So the victim, empowerment dynamic, the victim turns into the creator. The winner's triangle, the victim has to own his vulnerability. The persecutor, so if you see, you saw yourself more like here, the empowerment dynamic would be that the persecutor acts as the challenger. The persecutor must encourage the victim by asking what he wants. So instead of abusing someone, maybe ask them what they need, what they want, and that's how you become a challenger instead of a perpetrator or a persecutor. And if you were a little too much like me, like a rescuer, the rescuer takes the role of the coach. The rescuer should be caring and concerned. And even with my children, it's very hard sometimes when I see the solution and I can do it for them very quickly, I I have to fight myself and let them do or fail or fall so they can get up again, and then they learn how to do it themselves, and then they become independent. But when you are a rescuer, it's very hard. I used to be a victim for I had a past in my life where I was a victim, thinking, oh, that's a way of, like, I used to like being a victim, not like, but feeling I need it. And it was a way for me to see that people love me. Basically, if I'm a victim and if I need people and they do help me, that was a declaration of love for me. But I realized how wrong I was. And then I became a rescuer, which is not even better. So that's why I became a coach, and everything shifted in life. So if we come back to the cancer, why I shared all that, you will go from war to wisdom, a new way to see cancer. Why I said war? Because I coached a lady for her cancer, and one of the first things she told me was, oh, I need to fight it. And she was the second time she had a cancer. She already had a breast cancer 4 or 5 years ago. And now she's going through another cancer in her spine and her brain. And the first thing she said was, I had to fight. And you see, fight is very masculine. So that's why I created all this for her. First, all these slides that I'm sharing with you now are the things I shared with her. And then the idea came when I saw many of my Facebook friends going through cancer. And then I thought, oh, everything I told her can be useful for them too. Let me create a proper video that I can share with others. So we are used to thinking of cancer as something to fight. But what if cancer is a messenger? A last resort signal from the body that says, I can't take this anymore. A way to set boundaries, to gather toxins in one place, to slow us down when we won't slow down ourselves. And this, I saw a video about that said, actually, when you develop a cancer somewhere, when you have a tumor, it's a little like when you have a bin in your home. What is the bin for? You put your garbage there. You do not leave it on the floor, on the table, everything. So you gather all your toxins or your garbage somewhere, but you need at some point to take the garbage out. And with cancer, that's the same. They say we all have cancer. We don't even know it because the body will just do its job of eliminating or take the garbage out, we can say. But the problem is when we never take it out. So it will grow. And when we are very stressed or when we are doing something else, and focus on something else than ourselves. So we go back to the feminine, you see, that me time and everything. If you never do that, this toxin will increase, and like a bean, it will get even more rotten. And when we don't slow down, that's when the body needs to be more aggressive in the way it will call us. So the messenger needs to be more aggressive. So it's not an enemy, but it's a wise alarm, a call to deep healing. And this one, I would that for myself. Do you know what is the common factor of people going through cancer? I would that just to not forget. And one of my mentors, Peter Sage, with Joe Dispenza, who is the kind of the specialist of mindfulness and meditation, they have done some studies to find the common denominator between everyone that has cancer. And generally, it was not they eat bad or they smoke or no. The common trait of people having cancer is people pleasing and doing more for others than themselves and doing too much for others. And also I think I have on the slide another slide about the common trait of everyone that managed to heal their cancer, and try to think about everyone who healed their cancer, what they have done. What can it be? And no, it's not chemo. Some people have done chemo and they managed to survive. Like my son is now on remission, but other people did chemo and it didn't work. Some people stopped eating meat or milk or like animal stuff. And sometimes it worked, sometimes it's not. It didn't. But there is something that worked for everyone. Um, So if you listen to your body when it whispers, you won't have to hear it when it screams. And you see these little messages that sometimes you feel a little of a pain somewhere. That's a nice, we can say, or a soft way for your body to tell you, slow down. We need some rest. But when you don't listen, generally there will be another alarm later on, but harder ones. Listening to your body and honoring its signals is one of the true forms of self-love. So understanding cancer as a messenger. Time focus on one key shift from fighting the body to listening to it, from panic to presence, from fear to compassion. Reflect on questions like, what part of my life feel overwhelming or out of balance? So for example, my client who is going through cancer again, the part of her life is her job. She's over giving, and she's working for the UK government, and also her family. Her children are not adult, but she's doing everything for them, and it's completely out of balance. So there's no way she could carry on doing that. And she had the messenger 4 or 5 years ago through the breast, which is very symbolic for a mom. And she managed to go through that. But she through surgery, so now they removed her 2 breasts, they removed the tumor, she had to go through chemo and everything, so it was very hard, but she didn't listen to the message that was behind. And now the messenger comes again, but now again in the spine, and if you analyze the spine, it's what holds you standing, and the brain, which is basically the motor of the body, the how do you call it in English? The control center. Where am I struggling to say no? So ask yourself, if you are going through a little of a beginning of a cancer, or even if you are not going through cancer and you are watching that for someone else, for example, ask to yourself, why am I struggling to say no? Is it to your boss? Is it to your neighbors, your in-laws, your children? And reflect about that, on that. How can I treat my body with love and care? Today, not some days. We often say, oh yeah, tomorrow I will do that. The sport I will do it later. Eat healthy, yeah, when I have time. And we postpone all the time until the messenger comes in a very aggressive way, and we don't want that. So food, breath, rest. This healing isn't just emotional, it's physical. So you can bring anti-inflammatory foods like greens, berries, turmeric, and there are all these foods that can help with cancer and many other conditions as well. We take slow breath. We allow guilt-free rest. And just now, if you want to try, breathe, inhale for 4 seconds, hold it 2-3 seconds, and then exhale 6 seconds. When you exhale longer than you inhale, the message that you send to your nervous system is, I'm safe, everything is going all right, and there's no danger. Because when there is a danger, you don't breathe like that. You just you are like out of breath. And that's when we are out of breath, that's when we go to survival mode. When we are in survival mode, the immune system shut down, almost everything shut down. And that's very oxidating for the body. And all this oxidation, that's also what increase the risk of cancer. So every time you feel a little stress or something, just breathing. For me, that was my life-changing thing for all this year. If I had to remember only one, that would be breathing, because I think I was breathing very short, just in the throat. In my the air that I was inhaling was never going lower. And when you inhale very long, and then you can increase, instead of 4 and 6, do 6 and 8, 8 and 10, whatever you can. Because when you do that, and when you hold in the middle, it makes all this oxygen that you just inhale, it will go and feed all these cells, because our cells don't need only food. Sometimes they need oxygen, and this oxygen will prevent the oxidation, which means like rusting if it was a car, or anything with iron. So you oxygenate all your cells, and then they can get rid of the old ones that are damaged or too used, and then they can create new ones. But if you don't, you are going through your everyday life with a rusted body, which will become even, and the rust will expand, and we don't want that. Healing isn't doing more. People think, oh, I need to exercise more, I will need to do that, and they add too much on their already too busy schedule. It's allowing more, trusting more, and loving more. And one day I heard Mel Robbins. She was talking about like add to remove, and she was talking about this paradox, and it was very weird, but I didn't want to put it here to save some time. But basically, imagine like you have this glass, there is water, but there is mud inside. And if I tell you to remove the mud, what will you do? Generally, the first reaction we can have is take a spoon and trying to hunt for all the mud and trying to get out all the mud. But the problem is, when we do that, we also remove the water. And imagine the water is life, is love. If you take a spoon and you try to remove all the mud, you will remove life from your glass. But there is another way. If you add clear water, which would be more life, more things you love doing. Even if you feel tired, for example, maybe try to add something you love, not something you need to do for your in-laws or something like that. You like sewing, you like knitting, but you never find the time to do it. Do it. And you will think, oh, but I'm already too busy, I can't add anything. I promise you, if you add things, there will be less time for the things that you are doing for others that are not meaningful and that are not necessary. And when you add, or imagine now this glass, we are pouring clear water, clear water, clear water. What will happen? All the mud will go out by itself, and your glass will be full of clear water. So add to remove. What if cancer was here to help you heal? That sounds a paradox here again, but that's actually exactly what it is. This doesn't mean we don't take action, but the energy we bring to healing matters. When we fight with fear and stress, we are actually feeding the chaos. When we listen with compassion, we are inviting peace and clarity. You are not your illness. You are still whole, and you are still guided. Be very careful the vocabulary. Last time I had a friend, she was talking about she has issue with thyroid. So I told her, oh yes, you can say my thyroid, but don't say my Hashimoto. That's not your sickness. That's a sickness your body is going through, because if you say it's yours, it becomes part of your personality, and basically your system will want to keep it. Never say my cancer. That's not your cancer. That's a cancer, and it's your body going through that. It's not your cancer. So yes, you are not your illness. And some people, and why I'm doing this video as well, it's because I remember in France long years ago, I had a friend with a cancer, and I know that if we gave her a button to press and tell her, press this button, you will be cancer free, she wouldn't have pressed that, because she associated herself, her personality, her existence to this sickness. And she was unconsciously thinking, because obviously she was not conscious of that, but she was associating herself to the cancer because she noticed that because of her cancer, everyone was giving her attention, they were bringing her food. So, and she was thinking, oh, if I don't have the cancer, I will lose all this attention. So now her personality was too mixed up with this cancer. So she had to become someone by herself without the cancer to be able to then get rid of the cancer. So from my heart to yours, I'm sharing this because I've seen how powerful this shift can be for my son, for women I coach, for myself. This is a new path, a heart-centered way to face cancer. You are not alone. And your body isn't trying to destroy you. It's trying to talk to you. Maybe this is the moment we start to listen. And common factors of people who healed. That was yes, I was asking you, what do you think they have in common? And I will tell you now. The thing they noticed they have all in common, strangely enough, was gratitude. They were actually grateful for what was happening to them. And I know when you just receive the diagnosis of cancer, it's very hard to say, thank you for that. Or if you are Muslim, Alhamdulillah, which means all praise and thanks are due to my creator or to God. It's very hard, but you can actually see that when you see videos of people in Gaza, they have just lost their children. They still praise and thanks their God. And when you do that with your cancer, you tell your cancer, thank you for the message. But yes, expect to go through a hard time to heal. It will be painful. But people they have noticed, like Joe Dispenza and my mentor, Peter Shell, when they've done all these studies, they noticed that 100% of people who have cured their cancer have been grateful, have learned to look after themselves. But generally, people who try to fight all the time and still give, and they see cancer as someone blocking them or an enemy. I'm sorry, but generally the enemy is, like, as a woman particularly, if you think you will fight like a boxer or something like that, you are sure to fail. So if you want to fight with a boxer or a champion of martial arts, you will not fight physically. Physically, you are sure to lose. So you will need to fight with your emotion. If you make imagine this champion of martial art, you make his heart melt, then he can't fight back. And that's when you can have victory. So love this message, obviously not the way it comes, but if this message came in a form of a cancer, it's probably because it came many times before and you didn't listen. So now it's maybe time to acknowledge the message. What you focus on expands. And when you focus on the goodness in your life, you create more of it. So I just shared a taster of what I do in week 1 with people willing to heal from cancer or autoimmune disease. I'm not a doctor. It's generally parallel with their treatment, or I would never say to replace any kind of treatment, but it's a way of shifting our mindset. Because particularly here in UK and generally Western countries, they have destroyed everything that is more natural. The two ways they cure any sickness here is either plenty of medication, so they can feed the big pharma and laboratories, or surgeries. They never go to the meditation or a natural herbs or plants that you can take. Generally they don't do that. Or just fixing your food. Sometimes just fixing the food can be a big game changer. So feel free to reach out if you think you would benefit from my coaching and support. I hope you will benefit from that, and feel free to share with anyone that would need to hear that.